Utah is breathing dangerous, unhealthy air.
Not just in the lung, but in the heart, in the brain.
Now at 5, what it's doing to our bodies and the complications any new fires could cause.
Many here in Utah thought this smoke was from much closer to home. Today, we go in depth on where the fires are burning and how quickly the air quality can change.
This smoke causing all the air quality problems on the move throughout the weekend. Where does it go? I'll show you in the forecast.
Parents need to be aware enough to say, no, this isn't the right time to be doing this.
And with summer sports in full swing, we look at the impact on children's health, the recommendations to stay inside even as tournaments go ahead anyway.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13's Live at 5 starts right now.
If you've been outside in it, you've seen it, breathed it, and felt it. If you are inside, stay inside. The air quality is dangerous all over northern Utah. This is a live look from our Intermountain camera in the middle of the Salt Lake Valley.
We have team coverage for you this evening. We are going in depth for you on where the smoke is coming from and how it's impacting your health. But first, when will this smoke let up? Big question everyone wants the answer to.
Fox 13 meteorologist Breck Bolton, give us some answers.
We'll give you that answer as we first talk about the big concern that we're experiencing here all across northern central Utah, as this is a similar scene, both in the mountains and the valleys, as we give you a view from our Oker Mountain camera, trying to see across the Salt Lake Valley, of course, visibility down to about 2 miles in some locations, as this air just terrible to breathe in. Let's talk about air quality, where it's at right now, as we show you all across northern Utah from our air quality monitoring stations there, first focusing in on Cache Valley, northern Utah, up through Weber County. It's a lot of red dots there. We're in the unhealthy category. We move through the Salt Lake Valley over towards Tooele, also seeing that same situation. Where it's really bad is moving through northern Utah County. Notice some of these dots. It's in that very unhealthy situation, even getting close to hazardous. One troubled area is northern Utah County. As mentioned, I show you Traverse Mountain. That's one location where the numbers are very high as we look at the particular matter there right now at 270. You think that's bad, where we're seeing the smoke coming in northern California, Nevada City, which is in California. If you know, moving through Tahoe National Forest, right now their value at 608. Of course, it's all due to the fires burning through that region. We mentioned this Dixie fire, which is just pumping in the smoke, where we had a cool front move through this region, drag in that smoke, and then track towards the state of Utah. In that flow, it also brought smoke in from Oregon, Idaho. It's kind of a triple combination of smoke now spreading in here across northern Utah. So we look at your current temperatures, definitely below normal, one of which because of the cool front, also because of the smoke, limiting, of course, the sunshine there, keeping those temperatures low. Now, how long will the smoke be sticking around? We'll be taking a look at our smoke models. We'll show you exactly when the smoke will be moving away. We'll show that to you coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, Breck, thank you so much. The sight of all this smoke is almost shocking to the eyes and to the rest of our bodies.
You may be feeling it today. Fox 13's Aaron Cox spoke with doctors about what it's doing to our health.
This air pollution is actually more dangerous than what we would see in the winter. And one doctor says that's because the pollutants are actually smaller particles and they can seep deeper into your lungs. The smoky air is thick. The hope is the exposure will be minimal.
In my office, I can actually smell the smoke now, so it is getting in. But the air quality levels in most of our homes are considerably better than the out of doors.
Dr. Rob Payne, a pulmonologist with the University of Utah Healthcare, says the organs most impacted by air pollution are the heart, lungs, and brain.
They can cause inflammation. They can cause changes in blood clotting. They can actually trigger effects not just in the lung, but in the heart.
Yet there's a difference between causing disease and triggering pre-existing conditions.
It's not going to cause them to develop asthma if they don't already have it with these short periods. What you get with these short periods are triggers that make people who are at risk have those sudden events that are problematic.
The chemicals in wildfire smoke are more dangerous than man-made air pollutants.
Because the size is smaller, the amount of deposition in the lung is greater with the wildfire smoke than we have.
And the amount of smoke blowing from the northwestern states is something Jason Curry with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands says he has not seen before.
Smells like there's fire right nearby.
The good news is there are no burning fires in the state contributing to the smoke.
We actually broke a record over the last couple of weeks. Fewer human-caused fires during the second half of July than we have had in the last 10 years.
The caution, Curry says, is to make sure no one starts a fire in this smoky climate.
Our aircraft is going to be hampered. It's going to be difficult if there is a start.
A warning from both to stay inside until this blows over.
Makes a difference being inside.
The bad news is Dr. Payne says these cloth masks or medical masks don't really help in bad air quality. He says you need an N95 if you're going to go outside. In Salt Lake County, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
While the air is dangerous for everyone, seniors in northern Utah could be at even more risk. Salt Lake County Aging and Adult Services says the best thing to do is call and check in.
Are all of the windows closed in the house? And if you're using one of those window AC units, make sure that the outdoor intake, the outside air intake is closed.
Closing that intake will ensure the nasty air does not get sucked inside.
And when the thick smoke swept into the state, a lot of us assumed something was on fire close to wherever we were, but that, of course, as we know, is not the case.
We're going in depth today on where the smoke is originating and how and when it got here. Fox 13's Max Roth joins us in studio. Max.
Yeah, Bob and Kelly, you know, when I smelled it, I assumed it was something on fire nearby. Then you think about it, and in a way, it's kind of true, because when so many fires are so big in the West, nearby means something different. Now, Breck taught me something today that is going to help you and help me see how this changed today. Why all of a sudden this smoke that we've already had just got supercharged. Well, we've been getting smoke from California, but there's a supercharged swirl that's been delivering it from there and from the north, this sudden wall of smoke.
From the ground, Wasatch Front residents saw this happen. Ominous, sudden, hard to understand. Is it next door or far away? Let's step into space for a second. First, with a fire map. Take a look at this concentration of fires in eastern Idaho. Keep that location in mind as we turn to video from weather satellites. Our video begins at 7:21 in the morning. Our satellite video starts and you see the sun sweep from east to west. At 8 a.m., the skies are smoky, but not unusually so for recent days on the Wasatch Front. Tooele will get hit first. At 8 a.m., though, air quality is yellow, moderate. At 9, Tooele's air jumps from yellow to red, completely skipping orange, the worst we usually see in Utah in any given year. Back to the satellite. You can see a band of thick smoke swirl in a crescent moon arc from Idaho through Oregon and Nevada to northern Utah. This is 10 o'clock, and the state monitor in Erta in Tooele County is registering PM 2.5 at 145 parts per million, categorizing it as purple, very unhealthy. 10 a.m., the Wasatch Front getting hit hard now. Bountiful is in orange and on its way to an 11 a.m. peak. Red air, 105 parts per million. Salt Lake on the same path, hitting 110 parts per million at 11. And none of them can compare with West Valley City, hitting 197.3 and purple air at 11 a.m. Back to the satellite. Stop it at 11. The Wasatch Mountains have backstopped that swirling smoke. Now it's spreading south. Go to Linden in Utah County. They're on a different schedule. At 11 a.m., they have just hit a relatively low red reading. They peak an hour after their neighbors.
We're still in that red zone, even though we've stayed up there at a little bit lower level. All of those readings, according to the state monitors, have angled down a little bit. Those purple air monitors that Breck also shows us, those are always a little bit elevated above the state levels. Now, what the state tells us as well is to be aware that this is a double event, they're calling it. The worst pollution we're getting is from those particulates from the wildfires. but we're also getting some unhealthy ozone in our air, which is normally what we contribute to the air in the summer. So it's a good idea to try and avoid driving too much, those sorts of things as well. You don't want to contribute to making it worse. Live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Max, great information. Thank you. Breaking news just into the Fox 13 newsroom, and we suspect this is just the first of many others that may come in. The Canyon School District has now canceled all outdoor extracurricular activities involving their students because of the bad air quality. They will monitor the air quality, the district will, and determine when activities can resume. But again, the Canyon School District has now postponed or canceled all outdoor extracurricular activities for students for the time being.
The Canyons District likely making that call because we know from the experts that just breathing this smoky air can be very unhealthy. Today on Fox 13 News Live at noon, Ashley Sumner with the Department of Environmental Quality told Max Roth about the best thing you can do to protect yourself and your family.
I would tell folks to really stay inside as much as possible. This is an exceptionally poor air quality day. We do expect it to improve a little bit tomorrow to maybe downgrade to that orange or unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if people can just really try to stay inside as much as possible today and this evening.
Ashley there also gave us some advice on other things you can do to avoid breathing in the smoke. She says check air filters in your air conditioner and replace them if they're dirty. Also use an air purifier if you can, if you have one, and use the recirculated air setting on window air conditioning units and in your car.
Now we're getting a lot of pictures of the smoky air sent into the Fox 13 newsroom. Here's a look at just a few of them. If you'd like to see more, or if you'd like to check out some live cameras in real time, go to fox13now.com.
A lot more coming up this hour. A ruling on the use of deadly force by a West Valley City police officer. Details from District Attorney Sim Gill.
He served as governor of Utah and as Health and Human Services Secretary in Washington. The new assignment with the Tabernacle Choir from Mike Levitt after the break.
And as we go to break, here is a live look from our Natural History Museum camera in downtown Salt Lake City.
A West Valley City police officer's use of deadly force when he shot a suspect 3 months ago has been ruled justified.
That's right. Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill made that announcement just today. It was back on May 10th. 3 officers were dispatched to a West Valley City neighborhood on a call that 25-year-old Denny James Clark was trying to break into a home with a crowbar. Clark ran toward the officers with the crowbar in a raised position. After multiple failed attempts to tase him, one officer fired his gun 5 times.
They did everything I think is reasonable, and at this point, he kept escalating it to a point where they ended up having to use lethal force.
Clark was treated at the hospital for his wounds and then was taken into police custody.
Former Utah Governor Michael Levitt is taking on a new role as the president of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. The church announced that yesterday. He says he spent much of his life as a child listening to the choir on the radio and is excited to be a part of this new adventure. Levitt and his wife Jacqueline will fulfill this role together. Previous President Ron Jarrett has been serving for nearly 10 years.
I have great optimism that the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square can attract an even larger audience, a more diverse audience, a worldwide global audience. A global church needs a global choir.
Levitt says he plans to use digital platforms to broaden the reach of the choir. He also has no doubt that the talented musicians in the choir will continue to put out an excellent product.
The Dixie Fire in Northern California has exploded in size and is now the largest wildfire in the nation. I'm Claudia Cowan. I'll have the story just ahead.
Dangerous air quality is the story of the day, and this is historic. This is a live look from our Oquirrh Mountain camera. You can tell you can't see anything. Conditions are getting better and getting worse depending on the time of the day and the location you're in. Fox 13 meteorologist Breck Bolton will join us in just a few moments with his first alert forecast.
The Biden plan is working. The Biden plan produces results, and the Biden plan is moving the country forward.
President Joe Biden there making those remarks following the release of a promising July report this morning. The U.S. economy added 943,000 jobs last month. The unemployment rate dropped to 5.4%. The data exceeded expectations and shows the country's economic rebound from the coronavirus pandemic is continuing. And beyond getting more people back to work, the report also shows the average hourly wages, they were up 4% from the year before.
The Senate is still working on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. The chamber is on track for another weekend session. Action on the floor was largely quiet today. Several senators traveled to Wyoming for the funeral of former Senator Mike Enzi. Before leaving town, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer filed procedural motions last night. Votes on those motions are expected tomorrow, but the chamber could still consider additional amendments. Ultimately, the bill is expected to pass with bipartisan support, but it's unclear when that vote on the final passage will happen.
Back now to the wildfire situation in the West. The Dixie Fire has exploded in Northern California. Take a look. It has destroyed entire communities while creating very dangerous conditions for fire crews.
Fox's Claudia Cowan has more from California.
Massive wildfires continue to rage across Northern California. The Dixie Fire grew significantly over the past several days, making it the largest wildfire currently burning in the country. Extreme weather conditions are hampering the firefight. Overwhelmed firefighters say strong, erratic winds are pushing the flames past established containment lines.
You know, I've been in California fighting fire for a really long time, and this fire in particular is, to me, it seems a little different. Like, we can't catch it every day. There's a plume just gets bigger, it pushes a whole lot further. I'm tired, you know, just like any other firefighter out here.
The aftermath of the fire is heart-wrenching. In the gold rush town of Greenville, the wind-whipped blaze charred homes and wiped out blocks of buildings dating back more than a century. Thousands of residents remain under evacuation orders, while those under evacuation advisories are being told to stay alert and leave when they're told.
You should make preparations and be ready to move at a moment's notice. As the incident team has indicated more than once, these fires are making tremendous runs.
Meanwhile, NOAA releasing brand new satellite video showing how wildfires burning throughout Northern California appear from space. The National Weather Service in Sacramento saying the Dixie Fire has grown so large, it has generated its own weather system. The 3-week-old Dixie Fire has already burned more than 565 square miles, an area roughly the same size as Los Angeles. In Auburn, California, Claudia Cowan, Fox 13 News, Utah.
As that fire to blame here with the smoke that we're seeing here all across northern and central Utah. And what brought it in? Well, let's go back and talk about this weather feature that's been rolling through the region here over the past 12 hours. I'm showing you as of last night at 6 p.m. we were waiting for the arrival of this cool front. Now the flow around this cool front as the air was coming in from the west, the upper level flow moving through northern California. As it was tracking through, then it starts circulating around this pressure, or this area of low pressure, I should say. Now, as this cool front did make its move here across the state, that circulating smoke coming in from the fires from Northern California just continues to get circulated here all across northern Utah. In addition, as Max mentioned, we have additional wildfires burning through Oregon into Idaho. That's also getting caught up in the flow, and it continues to funnel in here across northern and central Utah. And this is the scene all throughout the state. Northern Utah, Cache Valley, you've got the smoke in plate, limited visibility, air quality unhealthy. It's even thicker once you move through Salt Lake and Utah County, getting unhealthy, particularly in northern Utah County, as we look at the smoke levels right now. Now, the flow is going from north to south. beginning to see a little bit of smoke in St. George, but you've been enjoying the sunshine. You haven't had to worry about the air. That'll change as we move through tomorrow. Now, the smoke shouldn't get quite as bad here as we look in central and southern Utah, but it's going to remain a concern moving through the weekend here as we look along the Wasatch Front. Now, your current temperatures were in the low 80s, upper 70s. Again, visibility in some locations down to about 2 miles. As the smoke will be in place, looking at the forecast moving ahead. Now I'm showing you where the smoke is at and what's going to be taking place as it does move. Now, going from tonight through tomorrow, we see that smoke spreading across the state, so it's not going to be quite as concentrated. So we see a little bit of improvement heading into Saturday. Sunday, we start to change the flow out of the southwest. That stops the supply or the flow of smoke moving through the area. Here's the problem. We've got another weather pattern and a feature that we'll be looking at. Another cool front coming in from the northwest. So it's going to change the flow out of the west into the northwest. So by Monday into Tuesday, that smoke once again could get kind of thick here across the state. So we don't see any big changes with the air quality. It just might be some points of the day on Saturday into Sunday. It's not going to be as bad. And again, visibility should improve as well. Now, as we take a look across the state, no concerns with any showers. We've got that cool front moving through, which can drop the temperatures, but it brought in the smoke. Here's our second front. It's going to be moving through Sunday afternoon into the evening. So for tonight, smoke spreading from northern through central Utah. Overnight lows in the 60s. We've got 50s through northeastern Utah. Overnight low in Cedar City, 56 degrees, 70s in St. George. Tomorrow, it's a little bit warmer. We've got smoke all throughout the state. Expecting to see air quality slightly improving into Sunday as well, but it can become a concern as we look towards next week. Now, for St. George, it's smoky on Saturday. You should see some improvement, so it'll be fairly short-lived with the smoke, at least Sunday through Monday. Different question on Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. Northern Utah, smoke-filled skies Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures really climb Sunday. We're near 100 degrees. Then it cools off with that second front. Hopefully by next week, Wednesday and Thursday, we start to see some improvements. Until then, we'll find temperatures close to average.
In about 3 weeks, this room will be full of Utah State University students. This year, whether they wear one of these or not, is not up to the university.
The more we talk, even if we disagree, we are going to respect each other.
A summit between Utah's government and the 8 sovereign tribes that are here.
In today's Money Watch, tens of thousands of passengers were affected by Spirit Airlines flight cancellations this week.
But now, Bob, the airline is giving some answers as to what caused these problems. Spirit CEO Ted Christie says in addition to flight delays, there were also staffing shortages, technical problems, and a surge in travel that created the perfect storm for mass cancellations. He says these issues had been brewing for more than a month now, and unfortunately, the problems aren't over. Spirit will be canceling more flights over the next several days.
Overall spending on construction is rebounding, but not when it comes to churches and other religious facilities. U.S. Census data indicates construction of religious facilities has declined dramatically in the past 20 years and hit a record low in June. But experts say this does not mean fewer people are attending church. The United Church of Christ Church Building and Loan Fund says people are worshiping in other ways, including online services and meeting up at schools and warehouses instead.
U.S. stocks mostly rose today after a better than expected jobs report showed the economy continuing to rebound, but raised fresh questions about Federal Reserve policy. The Dow rose 144 points to close at 35,209. The Nasdaq actually dropped 59 and the S&P added 7.
The mayor of Centerville is accused of using the city to raise money, donating it to his own nonprofit, and then using that nonprofit to promote his re-election campaign.
Mayor, would you like to address the public comment?
Nope. Coming up, we'll show you why attorneys say the mayor's nonprofit could cause the city some trouble.
The air quality on this Friday afternoon is atrocious, but how is that impacting students who are in one of the first big weeks of sports for the school year? We'll tell you straight ahead.
Last year, masks were required in Utah University classrooms. This year, they're going to have to try something else.
Welcome back, everyone. Now at 5:30, the bad air quality continues to linger across the state, impacting people in both northern Utah, central Utah, even parts of southern Utah. And this has been a days-long event. Right now, it ranks among the worst cities in the planet when it comes to air quality. I'm talking about Salt Lake City. This is a live look you're seeing now from our Old Mill camera.
The dangerous air comes as a lot of outdoor activities are planned right now, from festivals to school and youth sports. There is a lot that's supposed to be going on right now.
Fox 13's Spencer Joseph is live at Murray Park with how the air quality will affect outdoor sports and those young athletes. Spencer.
Yeah, certainly it's going to affect them. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're here at Murray Park where the Max Cup soccer tournament is being held. You can see the kids are still playing behind me. Now, I want to address this tournament to start out with. This tournament specifically, organizers are telling me that because of the bad air quality, the games were up to the coaches and the players if they were going to hold the game. Some were actually turned into shootout styles, and we've actually been told that 4 teams forfeited because of the bad air quality. And that's true for a lot of outdoor sports activities right now. There are several tournaments being played across the Wasatch Front, all of them being impacted with this bad air quality. Now, the tournament here has been going on for a few days and finishes tomorrow, with organizers saying they couldn't postpone games, but some parents did reach out to Fox 13 in frustration, saying if it still was going to go on, they felt pressure if the game can't be postponed, that their child should play if the game was held. Now, as I said, this isn't the only thing happening. There are other soccer tournaments, softball tournaments, and this is really one of the first big weeks of high school sports as well, with a lot of different practices and games coming up. We've just learned that Canyon School District has canceled all extracurricular activities. That's also true for Provo High School, canceling their team football game tonight, their white versus green football game tonight, both because of the air quality. Now, the Utah High School Athletics Association says the decisions are left up to individual districts, but they are still making some of their decisions right now. But we did speak to a doctor who said today, no matter what, exercise outside is especially not good for kids.
The coach needs to cancel practice, and if the coach doesn't cancel practice, the parents need to be aware enough to say, no, this isn't the right time to be doing this. If you miss a couple of days of football practice, that's not the end of the world. But if in exercising in this level of pollution, you end up getting really sick and maybe getting COVID, yes, that is a serious outcome.
So you heard Dr. Mensch mention COVID. In these types of air conditions, COVID is at a greater risk because you're inhaling all of that air particulate, which also makes your immune system work hard to fight that off. It weakens it for fighting COVID off. So bottom line, if you are watching this and your child does have practice or a game, seriously consider the health risks, as they can last for weeks, if not months, after this bad air quality goes away. Of course, we'll keep you updated at 9 if there are any more cancellations of tournaments, maybe districts making decisions. But for now, live in Murray, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, Spencer, thank you so much. Now on to COVID-19 in Utah. New cases dipped below 1,000 today. 894 new cases, 8 new deaths. 375 people are now hospitalized with the virus.
And on the vaccine front, a little more than 7,800 doses have now been administered since yesterday's report. 2,700 more Utahns are now considered to be fully vaccinated.
With new cases climbing again and some parents voicing opposition to masks in school, a different group of parents rallied for a mask mandate in public schools today. A handful of concerned parents and 2 state legislators participated in a pro-mask rally this morning. Many say a combination of no masks and the very contagious Delta variant would make for a disastrous start to the school year. Of course, there are 2 sides to this issue. Other parents believe masks in school should be up to the individual families.
As universities prepare to welcome back students, public schools are doing it without mask and vaccine mandates since the Utah legislature outlawed both. Fox 13's Brian Champagne shows us what strategies they will be trying to keep students safe.
Last year, walking into almost any building on any Utah college campus, the door said that masks were required. This year, thanks to the state legislature, it's a different message.
The CDC is recommending that everyone, regardless of vaccination status, wear a mask indoors during high transmission areas. We're not requiring them, but we're strongly encouraging them.
In the infection rate we're seeing now with the new Delta variants, it would be wise to wear face coverings as the CDC has described. The problem is we can't mandate that now. We just highly recommend and welcome and encourage our faculty, staff, and students to wear face coverings when indoors.
Encourage and recommend are the words from Utah State to Dixie State.
There's legislation out there that we can't require a student to get vaccinated on the condition of enrollment.
So Weber and Utah State will be greeting students with vaccination clinics.
We do know that if we have more people vaccinated, that masks aren't, they don't matter as much if we could get our whole population vaccinated.
And running non-banned programs.
We have a contact tracing team, along with maintaining seating assignments and attendance in class so that we would have a viable contact tracing program.
At private Brigham Young University, mandates are an option.
It's been nice to have, as a private university, to have some flexibility in trying to make decisions that will fit for our campus community.
The state universities say they'll keep up best they can.
We work within the constraints of the laws that are handed out, and we'll do our best we can based on that.
We can only work with people where they're at, and that's why we're really depending on people to go out, get vaccinated, to wear masks when they're indoors, and really take it upon themselves to have that responsibility for their health and the health of their roommates and friends and family.
Brian Champagne, Fox 13 News, Utah.
An emergency meeting has been scheduled for tomorrow in Centerville because of a Facebook post that prompted Mayor Clark Wilkinson's campaign for re-election.
Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Herbetz joins us live to explain what's going on. Adam.
Yeah, Bob Kelly, over the past year, the city of Centerville has raised thousands of dollars for the mayor's private nonprofit, Centerville Cares. Now he's accused of using that nonprofit to promote his own campaign for re-election.
I've been living here for the last 21 and a half years, and I've seen a lot of different things happen during elections between politicians trying to get elected. Some was good, some was bad. But I've never seen anything like what was happened this last week.
In Centerville, at a public city council meeting on Tuesday, Dave Flowers was upset because of this Facebook post of a campaign event he saw online.
You are here doing politics.
A video shared on July 28th by the mayor's nonprofit, Centerville Cares, promoting himself for re-election and two other candidates for city council. The post was deleted 5 days later.
Centerville Cares is supposed to be about suicide prevention and mental health, not a booster for the mayor's re-election bid.
I will be honest, it will be very difficult if Mayor Clark Wilkinson wins re-election because he has breached my trust.
Councilmember George McEwen is running against Clark Wilkinson for mayor, but he says that is not his biggest concern.
It's a breach of trust with the community.
Although Centerville Cares refers to itself as the mayor's initiative, lists City Hall as its address, and lists the mayor's Centerville email as its primary form of contact, it's technically not affiliated with the city. However, the city's fundraising arm has donated at least $12,000 to Centerville Cares.
I'm not comfortable with the relationship. Ethically, it's not right.
According to the IRS, 501c3s are absolutely prohibited from being involved in a candidate's political campaign. The mayor's nonprofit, Centerville Cares, is not a 501c3, but the city's fundraising arm is.
I think that it is worthy of investigation, which is, of course, what you're doing. And my sense is that it may not pass a sniff test.
Scott Hansen is a nonprofit attorney, not affiliated with this case. He said the idea of the mayor using the city to raise money, donating it to his own nonprofit, and then promoting his own re-election could cause the city some trouble.
The IRS may sanction them. They may send a letter asking them to rectify the circumstance. They could fine them, or they could revoke their exempt status.
Centerville Cares is not accused of using any of the money it received from the city inappropriately.
No, they probably used it for their intended purpose of mental health and wellness. But here's where it gets sticky for me. That organization has stepped into the political arena by posting the mayor's cottage meeting. It has corrupted its purpose.
What expected from my local government is honesty, fair play in elections.
Mayor, would you like to address the public comment?
Nope. I'm here for council meeting.
Isn't public comment part of the council meeting?
The mayor has repeatedly declined to comment, but the city council voted unanimously to hold an emergency meeting to discuss on Saturday at 11 a.m. The mayor is not a voting member.
I cannot have the city put itself in legal jeopardy, and if our mayor is doing that for the purposes of re-election is not a great thing for the city.
Even though the mayor has decided not to comment, Fox 13 has obtained an email he sent to City Council stating that the Facebook post was a mistake and that upon further review of his schedule, he will not be able to attend Saturday morning's emergency meeting. The primary election for City of Centerville is next Tuesday, August 10th. Reporting in studio, Adam Herpetz, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Adam, thank you. We continue to follow our top story, the bad air all over northern Utah. This is a look, well, I guess we were going to look, but if you were to look toward the state capitol, you would not be able to see it, depending on where you are in the valley. The smoke is so thick, covering much of the skyline in downtown Salt Lake. Breck, do we have any hope for weather conditions to change so we can get rid of the smoke?
Well, after the break, we're going to be looking at your weekend forecast, answering the question, is the smoke moving away? We'll let you know. We're back in 60 seconds.
Farmers across the nation are celebrating Farmers Market Week, and today the Utah Department of Agriculture kicked off the celebration at Murray Park. This morning, many farmers market shoppers picked up fresh fruits and vegetables that have been grown by local growers. Agriculture and Food Commissioner Craig Butters says the purpose of the farmers market is to connect consumers to local farmers.
And they can come and pick the quality of the produce that they get and establish maybe even a relationship with the grower so that in the future years they can come back to the same grower. They might like that product, come back and get the same product.
The farmers market at Murray Park will run every Friday and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. until October 23rd.
Here's a party. A Salt Lake City woman is celebrating a big milestone today. It's her 100th birthday. The family of Angelina Napales gathered at the Olympian restaurant. She was born on August 6, 1921 in Crete, the largest and most populous of the Greek islands. She made Salt Lake City her home in 1942. The centenarian has made it through World War II and 5 major global pandemics. She's also a survivor of the most recent one.
It was very disheartening. At 99, she was brought to the hospital because they said that she broke her leg or hurt her leg, and it turned out that she caught COVID in the hospital.
Wow, her 99th birthday last year was a quiet one, as you can imagine, but her daughter says this year they decided to go all out. Happy birthday, Angelina. Looking like the birthday queen there.
There she is. Well, still to come, Utah's Native American tribes are trying to put the pandemic behind them. See what's next for relations with the state of Utah.
And later in sports, after Sam Merrill just wins an NBA title with the Bucks, the former Aggie is off to a new team. I'll tell you where. Plus round 2 of the Utah Championship, 3 locals trying to make the cut, though only one did out in Farmington. Back in a bit.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Fox 13 News Live at 5. Glad you are here. Hopefully you're staying inside, sitting on your couch right where you need to be because we have nasty air outside. In fact, it's dangerous for your health. Fox 13 meteorologist Breck Bolton will have your first alert forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
In the meantime, the state's relationship with its original inhabitants is the focus of a summit in Orem today.
Fox 13's Ben Winslow reports from the governor's annual Native American Summit.
The governor's annual Native American Summit is designed to improve relationships between tribes in the state.
See what the issues are in the state of Utah and see what can be done to address it.
The conference was canceled last year because of the pandemic. COVID-19 continues to dominate, impacting tribes significantly, but there are hopeful signs.
A lot of tribes have been able to vaccinate almost their entire membership that is located on the reservation.
The lieutenant governor acknowledged problems and has committed to visit all of Utah's tribal lands.
I learn from you. I honor you. I acknowledge the things that have happened in the past that are terrible, and acknowledge also that we want to strive together to work with you to move forward into a bright future.
The governor and lieutenant governor met privately with leaders of all of Utah's tribes at the Capitol to discuss issues and priorities.
We're all dealing with COVID, and we talked about the drought.
The Ute tribe also wants to see better communication with the state.
We don't mind attending these, but if it's just for a greet and meet, you know, I've got better things to do.
The Ute tribe's business committee chair has called for tribal affairs to be elevated in state government.
You're kind of doing yourself a disservice by not giving them a voice, you know, so I'm hopeful that, you know, and time will tell.
Both sides say the summit continues to foster a better working relationship between state government and Utah's 8 sovereign tribes.
I think Governor Cox was very receptive of the discussions that are taking place, and that he honors the government-to-government relationship.
The more we talk, even if we disagree, we are going to respect each other, and we're going to move forward on the things that we do agree on.
At Utah Valley University, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, it's the smoke that we're talking about, wanting answers to know how bad is it and how bad is it going to get, or will it improve through the weekend? Well, let's talk about that first. Of course, getting a view from our Old Mill camera where we show you, and moving ahead, yeah, poor air quality, we know that. It will linger on as we start the weekend off. And the smoke is on the move, spreading across central and southern Utah. You're going to see a different view as we look in areas of southern Utah as we move through Saturday. Now, we have a cool front that brought in this smoke. A second cool front will be pushing through later throughout the weekend. The big question is, will it bring rain or additional smoke? Well, let's talk about it first. Let's look at the situation right now. We've been showing you and showcasing the poor air quality throughout northern Utah. All in red, we're in the unhealthy category, even in some areas like you see northern Utah County. Purple, that's very unhealthy. That's the situation. And as you look at the color scheme here throughout northern Utah, it's mainly impacting northern Utah. We're good to go across central, southern, northeastern Utah. You're seeing those green dots. Okay, for the Wasatch Front, this is what we're looking at air quality wise. It's very unhealthy. Tomorrow, slight improvement. We'll still be in the orange through Sunday as well. Now, that second cool front will kick winds out of the south. We'll get a little improvement Monday. But here's the thing. As we go through the week, next week, with that second cool front, like this last front, bringing the flow out of the northwest, tapping into that air coming in from California. That could be the scene that does set up once again as we look towards the beginning of next week. And this is what happened. Cool front coming in, dragging in that smoke, and then circulating it all throughout northern and central Utah. This is the problem. And again, it's the second front, which is taking a similar track. So again, we'll see slight improvements, but we could see kind of a repeat as we look towards the beginning of next week. So for tonight, smoke increasing across central and southern Utah. It's a smoky day tomorrow. We're finding temperatures below normal in the 80s there across northern Utah, also through central Utah, I should say. And for southern Utah, it's 101 tomorrow. We will see some improvements, though, as we look at the smoke Sunday, Monday through St. George. Will still remain temperatures between 102 and 103 for the next few days. Now, for northern Utah, smoky, smoky, smoky. You see it lining up through the weekend into Monday. Hopefully improvements Tuesday into Wednesday. All in all, we keep it dry with temperatures in the 90s.
An NBA swap involving local ties to report Sam Merrill, fresh off a title in his rookie year with the Bucks, is being dealt, along with a couple second-round picks, to the Grizzlies in exchange for former Jazz guard Grayson Allen. The Utah State product Merrill laced up in 30 regular season games in Milwaukee, but barely saw the floor during their postseason run. Last night, I reported that Jimmer Fredette was suiting up for the Denver Nuggets Summer League team in Las Vegas beginning this week, but due to a last-second personal issue, the BYU Darling has backed out, most recently playing overseas in China. Jimmer's basketball future currently remains up in the air. 3 Utahns slugged through the smoky air in Farmington Friday, trying to make the cut at this year's Utah Championship on the Corn Ferry Tour. Start with the recent BYU grad Rhett Rasmussen. A mini chip that he nearly rolls home at 17. Rasmussen was better than he was on Thursday, but still fell short of the cut line at -2. Go to Patrick Fishburne now, the former State Am winner. With a mixed afternoon, rough start with the routine par putt rimming out. The Ogdenator birdied 3 of his next 6 holes, though, and looks like he'll make the cut by a single stroke with a birdie on 18. And then there's the home course kid, Danny Summerhays, who has been in and out of retirement the last couple of years, but the putts just were not dropping on the back 9 for Summerhays, ending his run early.
Just couldn't get the ball quite close enough. My iron and wedge game was a little off, and then the putts that I did have for birdie, I either hit them a little too soft or a little too hard, and that'll be a quick exit from the tournament.
Bobby Bye is your leader at 13 under thanks to this eagle putt here at number 16 today. With the Utes starting Wednesday and the Cougs yesterday, Utah State has now joined the ranks at breaking open fall camp. The Aggies prep for a trip to Washington State week 1 with a head coach getting his feet wet along with his players. After a rough campaign all around a season ago, the Aggies begin the process of rebuilding into a Mountain West Conference contender. Several position battles going on, including at QB, where returning junior Andrew Peasley will square with Logan Bonner, who followed new general Blake Anderson here from Arkansas State. Anderson said he'll take what he saw this morning from his new team.
The energy was good. We started on time, got through with no injuries, and the veterans looked like they knew what we were doing, and that's kind of the test of day one. You don't do any install meetings. You go out and practice day one and find out what they learned over the summer and just kind of what they retained. And I thought in those senses we got good work done today.
And Utah Gymnastics added another piece Friday with an Olympic resume. Emily Morgan just helped Great Britain win bronze in Tokyo. She was originally planning on attending Cal, but ultimately elected on the Red Rocks. Morgan is part of an incredible freshman class that includes silver medalist Grace McCallum, U.S. alternate in Tokyo, Kara Aker, and bars national champ Sage Thompson. We'll be right back.
We finish up with a live look from our Ochre Mountain camera, and of course the health officials are saying if you don't have to go outside, please stay indoors.
Not much of a look there at all.
Stay inside, that's what we say. And watch your local news, right?
Absolutely, because we will be back here tonight for Fox 13 News at 9.
We'll see you then.
I'm Dr. Ryan Ellsworth, a podiatric surgeon. I perform no-cost spine surgeries at JBR Clinical Research. JBR is currently studying an investigational pain medication given after bunion surgery. To participate, call 801-261-2000.